and welcome to the Minnesota Lefthanders Podcast. Back again with you after a couple-week hiatus. Those first 4 or 5 or 6 episodes or whatever what it was really must have worn me out. No, in all honesty, I kind of changed course and went to Substack. I started posting a little bit there, so go find me there at Substack, at Minnesota Lefthanders again. You'll find some stuff there. It's all free. None of it is paid. But I figured, you know what, given the weekend that was here these last couple of days at the PNC Championship, a podcast was in order. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about what makes the PNC so great, why it might be one of the best events of the year. What makes the PNC so great in 2021 here is who this tournament has started to bring out and what that says about golf. And we're starting to get away from this idea that golf is this elite rich man's game and whatever. It's so much more than that. It's families. It's this style of golf, this type of event is more relatable to you and I out there on a Saturday with family, just kind of having fun, you know. Number one, old Tiger here is much more entertaining than young Tiger, at least personality-wise. His skill level obviously was unmatched, and the entertainment level was off the charts. But his personality now, you know, you've got him laughing out there with his kid. You know, you can tell that he's got a good relationship with, like, Justin Thomas, and that's such a cool thing to see, you know, because it just makes these guys more relatable. And not to be overlooked either is that Nelly Corda's playing, you know, best player on the women's side. And I just think this generation of players is putting a lot of emphasis on this style of event. Rory McIlroy talked about that with Chris Solomon at No Laying Up too, in their last interview from, I don't know, when was it? Thursday probably, I think, is when it was released. And how it doesn't need to just be this 72-hole stroke play event. We need to do things to get other people involved, you know, get people involved. They also talked about on that podcast the difference between entertainment-type sports and participation sports. And golf is just that. It's that participation sport, whereas football, you know, there's no pickup football leagues anywhere. But golf is a participation sport. And things like this events like this get people into the game. And, you know, clearly this generation of player, it matters to them. You wouldn't have Tiger, you wouldn't have Justin Thomas, and you wouldn't have Nelly Corda playing if it didn't matter to them. But the other side of this that makes it so cool is these personalities from the past. Lee Trevino's playing, and how far back you want to go, I don't know, but like John Daly is playing, and honestly, I love watching John Daly. His personality, who he was to the game he brought, and watching him out there, just kind of, it's almost like swinging from the hip. I mean, he's the anti-Bryson DeChambeau. You hit quick and you move on and you deal with what was next. You know, it just feels like his style of play is missed on the tour. I don't think that there will ever be another like him, and to see his kid out there having the success that he's having playing at Arkansas, and you know, obviously they won, so playing well, and seeing Daly out there it was just a lot of fun. Lee Trevino out there, I saw a tweet from a quote. It must have been during the Pro-Am earlier in the week. He must have, I think he had 2 putters in his bag, and he said, one's for putting, one's for throwing. You know, I mean, it's just he got a good sense of humor out there, and he's just out having fun. You know, and this type of event, it doesn't matter, you know, about the best score. You just want to see some good golf and some personalities and names from the past who, you know, you can go out and have fun watching. And I think golf fans were rabid this week for this event. It's one of those things that we were starved for, coming off the match which was just stuffy as could be. We get some fun personalities in this one. We get some guys having legitimate fun. There's not some, overplayed beef between some players. It's not some guys who, and this is hard to even explain, there's not some guys who were, they're not asked to be funny. They're not asked to be anything, but they're all mic'd up and they're all, being asked to like have some personality that maybe they just don't have. And Brooks Koepka and Bryson DeChambeau have never had that. They've never had that personality that worked well for that. There's a few funny things, but they're not comedians out there. They're not Bill Murray. That's not their job. That's not what they're supposed to be. And so seeing a little bit more of the looseness here was entertaining, not because, these guys are comedians and they weren't, but I also wonder if there's just not something to the joy that playing with your son, or like in Peter Corda's case, your daughter, brings, and just the looseness that goes with that. I think that kind of, added to some of that for us. And I don't necessarily need their comments. I mean, take a look at this video here. You can just watch Tiger with his son Charlie. Charlie at this point just rolled in a 25-foot putt, and no words are needed. Tiger's response here is just off the charts fantastic.
They were just practicing putts over on the 12th. Charlie made one, and there's that'll give you a little
It's these kind of moments that I think make events like this. It's not that we need them to be funny and quippy and, roast the other guy or whatever the case might be. Get a comment here and there, like I think many of us think that we should have anyway. There should just be hot mics everywhere so that we're able to hear some of those catty conversations and some of those thoughts and some of those things. But I think you just get a little more looseness in an event like this. Dan Rappaport, who's writing for Golf Digest, he was like on the Tiger Woods beat or something for this, because he's writing everything and tweeting like crazy. And at the end of the event last night, he wrote, "Last thing, the PNC rocks because it showcases what golf is all about for 99% of people. It's not shooting 68. It's spending time outside with people you love, regardless of generation. I got an awesome text from my dad today because of this silly tournament. Golf is undefeated." And it is. He's absolutely right there. And I'm telling you, there's something to this being better than the match that we've seen 4 of that are fine. But man, when guys are playing with their family, their young kids, in the case of Stenson and Woods, or maybe it's Justin Thomas and his dad, or whatever the case is, that there's just nothing better. It brings out the best in everyone, and I think that we see that in this event. Another tweet that came up from the No Laying Up on Twitter was, "What's most surprising," and this is at the end, after the event, "what's most surprising is that a different format featuring players from different tours makes for really fun TV. Could not have imagined that." Now that's dripping with sarcasm, because that's something that those guys have been pumping for a while. Just the idea that we need to do more things to get people into this game. And he and, like I said, he and Rory talked about this. You can't constantly have, you're going to relate to more people if you don't have 4-round, 4-day, 72-hole tournament every week in and week out. Doing things like this is such an important thing to get people into the game, because that's really one of the main goals of golf, is to get people into this game, because it is so great. Those of us who've caught the bug, we know that it's the best thing out there, and there's nothing better than playing golf with your buddies or your parents or your kids or whatever it is. I've got my young son, who we get out on the course, and he's too young to really play the game, but he hits a few shots here and there, runs around, rolls down the hill. It's great. He loves riding in the cart. We have an absolute blast. I'm hoping to kind of keep it fun and fresh for him, and I just want him to enjoy going, so that down the road we can have these moments, because honestly, that's one of the things I look most forward to. And seeing the PNC like this it absolutely seals that. That's what I want. That's who I think it kind of is an image of who we all hope to be. All right, a couple thoughts here on Tiger Woods, because that's what this week was about. He and Charlie got so much coverage, and I think it would have been cool if NBC would have done a little more with Nelly Corda, followed the dailies a little more, because I think that there's a fantastic story there too. I don't think we talked enough about what the dailies are doing or what they're up to or anything like that. I wish we would have spent more time, on them, because Big John Daly's story at the moment is quite interesting. So that would have been fun to follow, but I think much of the talk is, when do we see Tiger next? What do we see, and what can we expect? He's a lot of the guys after the round, Justin Thomas, Matt Kuchar, they all kind of were asked, what did you think about Tiger? What did you see? What were you hoping to see? And what are your lasting impressions? And they all kind of said, like, he's way closer than we thought he was. When we saw it, he's sticking long irons. He's out driving Justin Thomas. He looked great. He looked a little bit, he was walking gingerly and just looked a little bit timid, but his swing and his contact, this isn't that round of Tiger where he was, chunking chips into the water and whatever, like that time he tried to come back too early, 2012 maybe, or whatever year it was. This isn't that Tiger. This Tiger, while he may not be ready, for the long haul of a tour event and the prep leading up and the actual, what it takes to actually compete in an event, but he's got the game for it. It's just a matter of figuring out if he can build up the stamina to compete. So he's close, and he knew it the whole time. This has been his end game the whole time. This is exactly what he's wanted. This is exactly who he's building up to be, exactly what he wanted to be. I would guess that he knew that this would be a bit of a coming out party for him. He sat at the Hero World Challenge and said, I just don't know. We'll see how long it'll be before I'm ready to play at tour level. Well, I think we're seeing that the game is there. I guess off the top of my head, I'm not even sure where they finished. I think they were 25 under, though. Put them on the top page of the leaderboard, second or third place or whatever it was. But it's kind of proof that they're ready. He's ready. He's close. I would maybe argue that we see him at the Masters. It's kind of like those guys who in the football world, they don't go to training camp because they know what they need to do to get ready. They don't need training camp to be ready for week one. And the Masters is week one for Tiger. He knows what it takes to be ready. He doesn't need warm-up tournaments or whatever the case is. I think that he's going to take some time off. I think he's going to try to build up some stamina. And I think in April, about 4 months from now, we'll see him. That would be my guess. He's kind of said the majors are what matter. And if he can, find the magic one or two more times, I think that would be really something. We all said that back in 2019 too. We didn't think he'd do it, and he did it. And he's just, we never should have put this past him. I think he's going to be ready. I think we'll see him a little bit more, and I think it'll be quite an exciting time for all involved, the fans, commentators, him. I think everyone's going to enjoy it when he's back on tour and on top of the leaderboard. So what I hope to see going forward is this. I really hope that we see more of these events, and I hope that NBC and the PGA Tour and everybody starts to see how the energy that the PNC brought and carried with it, social media, viewership, all those things, and do more events like this, because and, maybe they don't bring the kids in. I don't know. Maybe it's not a father-son or a father-daughter or whatever. But it's, you're bringing in guys from different tours to play with each other. Because you're going to bring in different generations of golf fans. And that is something that, the young fans, the guys who are in their 20s right now, just kind of getting into golf, I really think they'd enjoy watching, Lee Trevino out there talking and playing with some of these younger guys. Because I think that they sort of appreciate it, but haven't really. But I also think that the fan could take something from that too. There were so many good moments from the PNC this year, but there were a couple of moments that stuck out to me as sort of feel-good moments. I can't believe that this was the first time that this has happened, but take a look here where Nelly Korda meets Tiger for the first time.
Yo, Nelly, yes. You got it. Done deal. Absolutely. Sebby's here too.
Oh, what's right?
Okay.
Good. Kobe be on you.
I don't know if it's together or how they want to. I think he wants to be alone. That's an alley, All right.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
we're sorry.
We'll give you the court.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
What do you do today? You good?
63. 9 under.
Hey, you guys.
He's sitting 6 hours, and he was carrying me.
He did make a birdie all by himself on number 2. So. All him. Yeah, it was good.
I did.
Yeah.
Where?
Thank you.
Thank you, Tiger. Appreciate it.
Is that pretty cool?
So cool. Dream come true.
Definitely not one of those things that I would have expected. Obviously it's cool that this event can bring these two together, but who would have thought that Nelly Korda hasn't met Tiger Woods before? And she just nerded. You could just tell it's just golf nerd. Coolest moment ever for her, and that's cool to see. Because there are people who would act like that around her. Who would meeting her for the first time because of what she is and what she brings to the game. She's got the smoothest swing of anyone out there. Another great moment was Lee Trevino giving Tiger and Charlie a swing lesson. The guy's 82 and his energy for the game is fantastic. Here, it's right here. Here it is. Take a look here.
Hey, Charlie, you gotta practice this. No, your dad can do this. I know your dad can do this. You see this? See this flag? Okay, this is a wet shot. Watch this. The little wet shot down in it. He does all that. I'm telling you, greatest ball striker there is right here.
Oh, come on.
He had power.
You're the best I've ever seen.
No, it's something not like you though. See, you got power. You got power. This one. Charlie, if you go England, you can keep it low and run it forever. I'm gonna tell you. Hey, Charlie. Now you see, Charlie. You see, I didn't stay in school very long. I was practicing while he was in college. I was practicing. That's what it is. You don't. Here's one. It's that one.
This is why I use wrong wedges.
The most fear ever on a par 5 with a 50-yard shot with a pin on the right.
I'm looking forward to it. I haven't seen it up
with water. No, but water right there. I said the greatest way of doing this to avoid the water is play with your hands way forward. That way you can't shove them anymore. I said, so if you put your hands there and then you hold it, see, you're never going to go to the right. You'll never go to the right. Because the first thing in your mind when you want to hit a fade is that you're going to do this. Your hands are like that. And you do this. See, I like your hands. Out. Come in. because I'm already out there.
I know, because of your normal takeaway.
Yeah.
My takeaway is slightly different.
But I always put the hands right there. And then, and then I can pull it. Then I can pull that trick from there.
I mean, how fun is that? It's Tiger just locked in, interested in what Lee Trevino has to say, and just having fun with the whole conversation. It's what makes golf great. I mean, I don't know what else to say. It's just why I love this game and why I like playing it, why I like watching it, and why I'm doing a golf podcast for crying out loud. I never thought that I'd be down this path. So with that, I think I'm going to wrap up this episode of the Minnesota Lefthanders Podcast. As I said kind of in the beginning, I've started writing on Substack. Try to do a couple of things here and there, keep that fresher, give you different content from the podcast over there on Substack. So you can find me there. I tweet my articles. I Instagram post my articles on Instagram. I can be found and followed there at MnLefthanders. This is posted. If you're listening, you've already found it on YouTube, but you can subscribe to my channel at Minnesota Lefthanders at Minnesota Lefthanders on YouTube, and like my page on Facebook, MnLefthanders. And of course, the whole reason I do this is the whole reason this started, I suppose, the whole reason this podcast started was to build awareness for and participation in the Minnesota State Lefty, which in 2022 takes place at Riverwood National in Otsego on July 16th and 17th. It's a really fun, unique tournament that really has brought in a bunch of good guys. Been playing it for a lot of years, looking to grow it, trying to keep it, especially this year, kind of in a neutral place in the state. Sometimes it's further south. Sometimes it's kind of up in the Wright County area. This year it's out at Riverwood, Monticello, Otsego area out there, up 94 ways, and it's just going to be a ton of fun. I hope that you'll consider joining. You can send me an email to MnLefthanders@gmail.com to get on the email list. Regular communication there will start in January, and you can get a flyer from me there as well, for the official event flyer. And so with that, again, I hope you come back and listen next time. That's it for me. Thanks for listening.